Hallo, Markus hier von markusfotos.de, hier auf der Fotokina, und neben mir sitzt Matt Granger. Ihr werdet ihn vielleicht kennen als Nikon Guy, und er macht viele YouTube-Videos, und ich will mich mit ihm ein bisschen über Fotografie und über seine YouTube-Kanäle, die er hat, unterhalten. So Matt, thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
I have a few questions I just want to ask, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll answer them. They're not that personal, so it wouldn't be a problem, I guess.
Well, you may have to check with my agent, but otherwise I think we're fine to chat about anything.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to know, what was your first contact with photography?
Wow. First contact. First memories would be my father's mother always had a camera in her hand, and she had that condition that her hand shakes quite badly, so all of her photos would be out of focus and blurry, and she would always tell us it was because it was windy on the day. So even though the people are blurry, she would say it was because it was windy. And growing up, my father was a photographer, amateur photographer, but actually very, very good. So whenever we would travel, you know, my main memories of traveling America as a kid were being dragged from camera shop to camera shop. So there was always cameras in the house. And I can't remember the first camera I ever owned, but it would have been a little instant film camera. And it just went on and on from there.
Okay, and so when did you decide to become a photographer? What was the initial thought, okay, I will go to do that?
Okay. Well, I guess there was 20 years in between that first question and then the second one. So I was always passionate about photography. I always enjoyed it, but like a lot of people, didn't really think about it. Just, you know, I was always taking pictures, and it was more about recording the moment, being out with friends or that kind of thing. Then at high school, actually, when I was maybe 15 or 16, I studied photography at the school, and they had a dark room, so I got to learn how to process film and process actual photographs in the dark room. And that's probably the first time I actually thought about, you know, what is photography and what makes a good photograph, rather than being there with a camera at a fun moment, what, you know, how to look at photography as an author. So we looked at it as an art and studied the formal people, you know, the masters basically. And then I didn't do a lot. I actually went and studied economics, of all things.
Something totally different.
Yeah, it seemed really responsible, and my parents were very happy that I did that. Worked as an economist for a little while and didn't enjoy it at all and quit. And then I went back and studied film studies, screen studies, so film and television, and more about the storytelling and how you put together a scene, that sort of thing, rather than the technical production side of things. And finishing that one, I went and I worked in communications and did some photography on the side, and just over time built it up until I was able to step out of the day job and do it full time.
Okay. So what
Quite
kind
a
of
common story, I think, actually. Well, except for the economics, but you know, building it up.
But I think it helps for the photography business as well, to get your bills paid and everything like that, to have knowledge about these things too.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go off your questions, but
No,
I think
not a problem.
that's actually the most photography businesses, and actually most artists, will fall down because they don't have business skills, not because of being a good artist. It's sad to say, but I honestly think if you're excellent at marketing, excellent at a business, and rubbish as a photographer, you'll be more successful than the opposite. Being a great artist and having no idea about money or how to manage your time or how to market yourself. If no one knows who you are but you're great,
A great photo doesn't fill your
then you'll
fridge
have
or
a nice
pay your
house.
bills.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
That's true. So what kind of photographer do you do now for your professional work, for clients, and what do you prefer to do as your private work for enjoyment, for fun?
Well, if I can choose to do any kind of work, then it will all be centered around people, and generally it is. So portraiture for individuals or families or for publications. So you know, that pays the bill type sort of work, you know, where you're told go and shoot this banker and just we need these different layouts and this kind of composition. And there's still a creative edge to it. They choose you because they like your style, and you know they know that you're going to deliver the sort of result they need for their publication. But And for me, that is the main thing, actually. As long as I get to interact with people face to face. A lot of people will disagree with this, but I haven't really met anyone who I dislike. If you actually give someone a chance to talk and understand where they're coming from, and people are passionate about things. So if you just start talking and ask them about their interests, I pretty much enjoy every photo shoot where I'm able to make a connection with someone. Sometimes, if it's a big shot banker, then you can't, and they've got 2 minutes, and then there's a media person there, intermediating the whole time. But yeah, did I even answer your question then? Basically anything to do with people. And for personal stuff, it's the same as well, to be honest. I play around a little bit with landscape and different things, and I do that sort of thing for my channel more to teach people. But for me, I'm most interested when there's other people there. Occasionally when I'm out traveling, I'll do landscape, but it's really it's like meditation for me, just to be alone and not talking to anyone and alone. And I don't really do anything with the images at the end of it. It's just for myself.
I can totally feel that, because I like to shoot people even more than other things. Okay, a bird here and there, but the Photokina is fine. Normally I would prefer to shoot people. Okay. So another question, where did your nickname, that Nikon Guy, came from? Did it came before the channel or after you YouTube?
Well, before, but by about 1 hour. The channel wasn't something planned out or strategic at all. I think it was around Australia Day, which is the start of middle of January in 2011, and I just wanted to put up a review of a bag. So I thought, I need a name, and something a little bit catchy, something that people will remember. I shoot with Nikon, so then I thought, well, hopefully the Nikon viewers will watch me, without really thinking that Nikon's quite small in the market when you compare everyone, that I didn't even think about it potentially ostracizing the Canon users or Olympus or Sony or Pentax or everyone else. So no, there wasn't a lot of foresight. I wasn't really known as that. I called myself that, and now I'm known as that. But I hope people who watch the channel a lot know that it's not because, I'm paid by Nikon, or because I only use Nikon, or because I hate Canon or anything silly like that. Yeah.
If you take a look at the videos you made here at the Photokina, there's much more about other cameras than there's about Nikon cameras.
Yeah, well,
so
actually,
went to Leica and everywhere.
Yeah, so I've started a second channel now, Photo News and Reviews, which is partly, well, for two reasons. One, I can understand why someone like, do you want to pause?
No.
Okay.
We just talk that through.
Okay. For two reasons. One, I can understand why Canon wouldn't really want to deal with that Nikon guy. I don't think Nikon would want to deal with that Canon guy. Well, they'd be more reluctant and more hesitant, and it's not as easy to approach them and say, hi, I'm known for Nikon, can I use your camera? It's a difficult sell. So,
but they probably know you and recognize you when you come here to the booths, or not?
Some. I'm surprised. Sometimes people have heard of you, and some have no idea. It's actually, sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes it's a disadvantage. But so the second channel I started for that reason, so I can more easily and without people questioning, am I being biased, that kind of thing. And the other reason is I wanted to separate it out. I put out so many videos now that there's a lot of people who sign up for that Nikon Guy because they want to learn, and they actually don't care about equipment that much. Okay. So if I was putting out, like now at Photokina, 15 videos in a day, and they're not interested in gear, that could really annoy them. So I thought, separate it out, then if you're interested in gear and no brand affiliation, then look there, and if you're interested in learning how to do something, then that Nikon Guy.
So that's the whole idea of separating the channels.
Yeah.
I was asking myself, why did you do that? Because a lot fewer subscribers on the gear channel now. Some may have missed something, but I think that will change over the time.
Yeah, it's a leap of faith. No. I have to hope that people will keep watching it.
I still think it's a good idea. So did you still have the bag?
Which bag?
The first bag.
Yes, actually, I have an embarrassing number of camera bags. So that one I think is in my garage with about 20 other bags. Okay. So it doesn't get a lot of use. It was a Low Pro Slingshot 302.
Okay.
Yep.
So we already talked about the YouTube channel, and besides that Nikon Guy channel and the photo news and reviews, you have a channel about culture and food.
Yes.
And that's something we talked a little bit in emails before. So tell us a little bit about that channel, where that love for this topic came from.
Well, I'm fortunate that I get to travel quite a bit for the channels and for work, and you know, I do love my food. And my interest in film studies when I was studying was all about culture and how cultures and societies and people interact. So there's that genuine interest in wanting to be able to share that kind of thing, and I haven't really pushed that channel at all or started promoting it. The videos are getting a couple of hundred hits. Not many people I think even know about it, but I want to build that one up more and more. And the other thing is, it means when I go to a good restaurant, it's a tax deduction, so that's handy.
Okay. So it's only for taxes. Okay, we understand that. Okay, I was planning to put a link to the channel, but now I know it's about taxes. I probably won't do that.
Well, nobody wants to pay tax. You can help me out.
It's totally fine. I understand that. So. You really travel quite a lot. Is it all or mostly for work, or do you really like to travel and you do it for private fun too?
For both. That's the beauty of, and I think that's why a lot of people dream about being a photographer, is you can really do it anywhere with a bag of equipment. You know, you don't. People complain a lot about. I don't think it's specific to photographers. Every industry, I think, will have. Complain about the cost of their gear and how new people are entering the market and stealing their jobs and all of this kind of thing. It's nothing specific to photographers. We're kind of lucky, really, for really quite high-end stuff. For $10,000 or $15,000, you can have all the tools you need, and you can travel with it anywhere in the world. A plumber can't do that, or a builder can't do that, or a mechanic maybe can, but I don't know if what they use. So. So I do really, really love travel. Being in Australia, we are so far from Europe, but we're quite close to Southeast Asia, so there's a whole lot of countries we can do quite cheaply, and everything's cheap there. So by the time you get to the country, it's pretty much cheaper for me to stay there and make YouTube videos and just, travel around there staying in hotels than it is to stay in Sydney at my own house buying groceries. Okay. It's so cheap to travel in Asia. And my wife's actually from Hong Kong, so we go back to Hong Kong at least once or twice a year to see her family, and from there's a lot of places nearby that we like to go. So I'll normally try and tie in work wherever I go. So whether it's writing for a magazine about a particular country that I go to, or taking images that I'm pretty sure I can sell to someone, or helping run a photography tour, if you can tie in the work and holiday together, then that's kind of the ideal. Yeah. Well, so win and not so much of a loss situation. Work is work, but if you can do it in somewhere nice like this, then why not?
Okay, very good. Another question, a lot of your videos on your channel focus on the technology, on the gear. You do really quite good comparisons of different lenses of the same type, like 7200 from different brands, and you try them out in several videos. And but your slogan is "Get your gear out."
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit of a contrary thing. There are kinds of photographers that totally focus on gear, mostly amateurs, and other photographers that they are saying gear doesn't really matter that much, and don't put too much focus on that. So how do you think, how much does the gear add to the quality of an image, the overall quality, not only the technical quality?
Okay, I'll answer your question second, but on the first thing you were saying there, that's true that there is kind of a mismatch there, but I'm not making videos because I'm necessarily interested in the results and that I want to buy something new. But if the number of people watching them and leaving comments tells me that there's people out there, and you know what it's like, your friend is waiting on his iPhone and absolutely dying for it. When you save up the money and you've got your heart set on a new piece of equipment, people get really emotionally invested in it, and I'll get questions from people that you can just feel that there's so much emotion behind it, and they're stressed out about which one they should buy. So I want to help them make an informed decision. So, you know, like you said, the 70 to 200 series, I own a 70 to 200. I'm not looking to buy a new 70 to 200, but not everyone can afford, I don't know how much it is, $3,000 or something like that, and not everyone needs that. So by showing the different alternatives, then, you know, if you're a beginner, an intermediate, or rich or poor, or whatever your constraints are, then you can get it. And as you say, get your gear out is more about shooting rather than the gear, but it's kind of recognizing that not everyone, but a lot of photographers do love their gear as well. You know, whether they say it's important or not, they love and prize and care for their gear. So, you know, I'm just saying it doesn't matter what you own, whether you've got an entry-level camera or a point and shoot or whatever. If you love photography, the most important thing is to go and do it. I mean, I know I spend a lot of time making content for YouTube, but there's a lot of people who watch every single video I make and are leaving comments, and I have to wonder, do they shoot? Because they're in leaving comments so often. And I mean, it's great, I love the interaction, but doing research and buying gear and talking on forums and all of that is great and useful and can benefit you, but that isn't photography. That's just all the crap that goes along with photography that you might enjoy also. But photography is being out with the camera in your hand, taking pictures, making pictures, looking for beautiful things to record. And you can do that with a camera phone, or you can do that with a Hasselblad, you know. So whatever you have, just use it and use it and use it. And then when it dies, then look at something else that you want to buy.
So maybe the message of Get Your Gear Out is you can learn more from 1 hour photography outside than from sitting 1 hour in front of your or my or every other video.
Yeah, I don't like to generalize it too much. There are people who are doing people. You know, they need to try it and fail and then they'll get it. And then there's other people who kind of, you know, students who like textbooks because it breaks it down into easy steps for them, and then they can go out and try based on that. So, you know, people who only like to learn by doing aren't watching my videos. People who like to get instruction are watching them. So, you know, it's something you hear all the time, but when you're actually making content, it makes sense. You make the videos for the people who watch them, not for everyone. So, you know, some people love them, some people hate them. That's fine, but I'm not making it for the ones that hate it. You know, there's people who appreciate it, and it is what they're looking for. So that's the audience, you know. So that's enough. But your actual question of is gear important? It's a tricky one because it doesn't have to be. I've met professional photographers who have 40 years of experience and make the most stunning images I've ever seen, and they use a single camera, a single lens, no flash, and that's it. And they travel the world with, it was I can't remember the model, but a fairly basic Canon camera and a variable aperture zoom lens, and that's all he travels with. And his work is stunning. You wouldn't know what he's shooting with. And then I know others who travel with 100 kilos of gear, and their work's stunning too. So, but there are some things you can't do with, you know, if you can't get 10 frames a second on a certain camera, you may be able to catch the frame you want with great timing, but you can't get 10 frames. So you can't do that with a cheaper camera. You can't focus in near dark with a cheaper camera. If you need to do those things, then yes, that gear is important. There are some limitations. You may be able to find some workaround, but if you're, for example, shooting Rupert Murdoch and you have 30 seconds with him, you don't want the camera to be searching for focus for 5 seconds. You want it to get it perfectly. So it's like a car or something like that. A higher end car will go around the track faster. That's true. But if you don't know how to use all of that, you may just get confused and not find the on button. So you can certainly overcomplicate it. But there are times where you need, or some people will prefer to use higher end gear. And if I said that gear doesn't matter, then why do I have so much, you know?
While talking about gear, what are your Photokina highlights? What is the thing that you saw here and say, wow, that's a good thing?
Oh, there's been a lot, to be honest, and I confess it, I am a gear addict. Some of it is from a technical perspective, and some of it is just beautiful things. You know, in the same way someone might buy a vase and put it in their house, I have a cabinet filled with antique cameras. I like to look at them, and I do use them occasionally. But I mean, in terms of excitement, certainly the new ones from Canon and Nikon, see, I even forgot the name, Canon, Nikon, the 6D and the D600 have been the most anticipated, I think. The Leica M would probably be the biggest surprise for me. Oh, and that new Hasselblad Luna, I didn't really see that coming. That's it. I don't read a lot of rumor blogs. It seems they're getting more and more accurate. I think they must be getting fed the information. They're so accurate now, but I just don't personally have that much interest in it. I'd rather wait and see what's coming out. Like you say, I'm not waiting to buy something. So when it's out, then I'll talk about it. But the Leica monochrome, it really interests me. I had a good play with that yesterday, and you know, if I could take anything home for free with me from Photokina, it would probably be the monochrome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked a little bit about you talked about the new Nikon and Canon models.
Yep.
Those both are entry-level consumer cameras, not really entry-level, but consumer cameras. Do you think that is the beginning of the end of the APS-C for the consumer cameras, for DSLRs?
Yeah, I don't know. All those big companies, I don't know that they sit down together, but they certainly sit down as a big corporation and they'll have a roadmap 10 years into the future. And there are only a few big manufacturers of sensors out there. So someone out there knows what's going to happen, whether there's going to be a size bigger than 35mm but below medium format. Until recently, I would have said no, it won't die out, and that 35 is, you know, here along with APS-C because there's such a range of APS-C size sensors now. But I don't know, there just seems to be getting more and more options out there. You know, the Micro Four Thirds, which initially was not fantastic, and now the image quality that some of the sensors are producing is astounding. Like the new GH3 from Panasonic and the OMD from Olympus, the quality of those tiny little sensors is much better than the entry-level APS-C sensors you can get from most of the brands. So I don't know, like I thought it would be too hard for them to move again and create a whole new set of lenses, but they keep doing it. So who knows? I really don't know about that one, but if it is going to die out, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. There's 50 APS-C bodies in the market now. If nothing else, they would have to keep up production of lenses and everything for 20 years just to service the bodies. So I don't think it's going to happen overnight.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that too. So what was your favorite in Cologne? You were here for a week and you traveled a little bit around the city after the fair.
Yeah.
So what did you like the most about the city?
Oh, I have to actually confess, I haven't seen enough of the city. I came Friday before Photokina, and then I had the weekend, then all the Photokina, and then each night I haven't really done anything. Last night I had a function at the, I'm going to mispronounce this badly, F-R-U-H, the famous pub. Yeah, near the Dom. There's a...
Fru.
There you go.
Yes.
F-R-U-H, right?
Yes, that's about the kölsch,
yeah,
the beer.
So we had a little function there last night, and I went there a couple of times now, and it's a fun little place. Whenever I go to a city, I pretty much just wear my shoes out walking all day and just see where I end up, and I don't normally take a map. At least in Cologne you can always see the cathedral, so you can find your way back to the city. Let's see. Well, I looked at a couple, I think the two biggest camera stores in town again by chance. They just happened to have Nikon events on, and I saw the sign and I went over. Obviously the cathedral is really beautiful, but I haven't seen too much of it. I've walked around all the old town and most of the city area and Newmarket and these kind of areas. And then I went out to, what's it called? Neptunebad?
The nude spa you were talking in one of your videos about.
Yeah, so that was really nice, and that's the only thing right now that I'm planning to go back to again. I think I'll take Sunday afternoon off and go back there, but yeah, it's unfortunate. I think there's a lot of people who come to Cologne every 2 years for Photokina who haven't seen anything other than right around the cathedral where all the events are held, or along near the Messe where all the restaurants are. It's just such a busy schedule. At the moment I'm doing, I get up at 7, edit and upload videos, answer comments, come here, and then we'll be shooting, editing either here or at home until 10 at night, and then that's kind of my day gone.
So your advice for people visiting the Photokina in 2 years would be take some more time and have a look at the city?
Well, if you're a guest, definitely. Well, I think if you're a guest, you probably get overwhelmed and have seen enough in 2 or 3 days anyway. Most people, I guess, only come for 1 day. Industry people who come, industry people as in representing a company, they have functions every night anyway. So they see the inside of restaurants and bars, and that's probably about it. I have one good friend from Australia who's been coming for maybe 15 or 16 years now, and he still hasn't seen much of Cologne because, you know, when you're an executive, you need to fly out the day after it finishes. But definitely, I'm glad that I had those 2 or 3 days before it started to have a look around. Otherwise, I would have seen nothing. And it is a lovely little town. So, yeah, make sure you schedule in at least an extra day or two and get to the spa.
Okay, thank you for the interview. It was really nice.
Yeah.
And I hope you will have a good, nice day.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.